Hello everybody, it's Ashley here from Paper&Twine. Do come on in, the coffee shop is open, there's seating outside today. It is a beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the UK. Because it is sunny, I have got a glass of fizzy water with some sugar-free elderflower cordial in it. And that's rather refreshing. I've been fancying some bubbles. I fancy some fizzy wine tonight, but no, I don't think we've got any. So I'm going to come on later and show you. I've had a little play this morning, show you how I made this cute little Easter treat bag. The sun's really bright, sorry. So I'm going to attempt a tutorial later, but that's quite cute, isn't it? So I might pop on later, show you how I made that. But what can I tell you? Not a lot. It's another day in lockdown, isn't it? I did my Zoom meeting this morning with Theatre Train, trying to teach drama online. It's not easy. And I had a bit of a panic because my iPad died about an hour into the session. I'd made sure it was fully charged, and for some reason a message came up, 10% battery, and I've never had that happen before on one of my Zoom calls. So for some reason or other it was just really draining the battery, and iPad died completely, and I had a panic while it kind of booted itself up again, and yeah, so that got my heart rate going a little bit. It's really hard. I feel for the kids because obviously when you're doing drama you need to interact with other people, don't you? And it is difficult. The little ones are very good at trying things, and they've got lots of ideas. The older ones are a little bit more self-conscious. They much prefer, I think, being in person. So hopefully we'll be able to be in person soon. I hope so, because it's, you know, I really enjoy my Saturday mornings, and it'll be nice to get back to that. What's on the menu today? Barry's been very busy in the kitchen. He has calmed down a bit since he's met Beryl. I told you about Beryl the other day. She's not in today. I don't know where she is. But no, panini of the day today, for those of you that are interested, is camembert, rocket and fig jam. So let me know if you fancy that. That's the panini of the day. I hope that you can all find something that you like and make yourselves at home. Do just be careful with that social distancing. We mustn't get complacent, must we? I watched a lovely little vlog this morning from A Slice of Life. She's an American lady, a similar age to me. She's a bit younger, and she does hauls and cooking videos, and she's got a sweet little dog called Sadie, and she shows you going off doing her errands, and Sadie sits up like this in a car. It's really, really sweet. So go and check her out. But she was saying that she's felt really alone, and that for her YouTube has been a way of connecting with people. And I'd just like to say a thank you to all of my subscribers. There's some new ones coming on stream, which is really, really lovely. My phone's going, hold on, it might be my dad. Yeah, that was my dad, bless him. He's having trouble with Zoom. And my husband's not here to help him at the moment. He's popped off to see his mum and dad because they need a bit of help with a few things. But I've been sat here thinking, I've been doing a bit of crafting. This time last year, I was in New York. I was really lucky to go with Theatre Train. I went as a chaperone. And the reason I thought about it was that it would have been February half term a year ago. And on the Monday, I went to the hairdressers. Whole year since I've been to the hairdressers. Oh, Blue's coming, hold on. Just move everything out of the way in case she knocks it over. You're going to come and say hello to your adoring public? She's going to knock the camera over, hold on. She's sniffing the back of the phone. She's much better, by the way. Thank you for those of you that sent kind thoughts to her. Here she is. Get out of the screen. Yeah, she's much, much better. So whether she'd had a little bug, I don't know. You don't want that. You won't like that. I've got a bum in, got a bum in the screen now. Yeah. So as I was saying, it was a whole year since I went to the hairdressers, and it was a good job in one way that, you know, I was diagnosed with cancer, and my hair fell out with the treatment, because it would have been a right mess, wouldn't it, by now? So my mantra was always, every cloud has a silver lining. That was my mantra the first time I had cancer, 9 years ago, I think that was now. So yeah, I went to the hairdressers, and then on the Tuesday we went to New York, and we took a lovely group of kids. They were fantastic, and had some lovely experiences. They did a workshop, a musical theatre workshop, which looked really good fun. And we went to see Beetlejuice, which was amazing. Really, really, really funny show. And oh, I do so feel for anybody in that industry. They've obviously been really hard hit, haven't they? And I wonder whether it will get back to normal. I wonder how many theatres will survive. It's very sad, very sad. And obviously this time last year, we really didn't know what we were going to be experiencing, what we were going to be getting into. All of those businesses that have folded. Well, it's a bit maudlin, isn't it, to talk about that? But yeah, I had a lovely time in New York. If you ever get the chance to go, it is an amazing city. I've been sat here doing some crafting, as I said, and had the news on, and it's been Captain Tom Moore's funeral today, hasn't it? And they played him singing "I'll Never Walk Alone" at his funeral, apparently, and only 8 people could go to his funeral. 8 members of his family, and he must have had such a large family, living to the age that he did. It must have been very difficult for him to decide who went. But I filled up a bit hearing him singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," and imagine him walking around his garden. I got quite emotional thinking about that. But yeah, have you all got your orders? I hope you're liking the camembert and rocket with the fig jam. I've had a few suggestions of what people would like, so I've got plenty of mozzarella in. Let me know what else you'd like. I fancy a tuna melt, actually. I haven't had one of those for a very long time, so I might have one of those later. The panini machine is working fine, and Barry's quite calm today. I haven't had to have a word with him about anything, and yeah, I think Beryl might be quite good for him. So I'm going to leave it there and pop on later and show you, if I can, how I made this cute little box. Well, it's not a box, it's a little bag. Do you like it, Blue? She's looking at it. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, so I'll show you how I made that, perhaps, if I can figure out how to get a decent angle. And I'll come back soon. Bit of drivel again today, sorry. Hello everybody, I'm going to come on and attempt to show you how I made this cute little Easter treat bag. It doesn't have to be for Easter, it could be for whatever occasion you see fit. I can't see the camera, so apologies if things go out of shot. I've gone ahead and done a little bit of prep. What you need for this is a piece of card, which is 10 centimetres by 18 centimetres. You need a panel of card that is 5.5 centimetres by 7 centimetres, and you need another panel of card which is a smidge smaller, which you're going to use for mat and layering. I can't take credit for this project. I found this on Pootles Papercraft. She is a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I've adapted this slightly from her tutorial. She gives measurements in inches as well as centimetres, but because my scoreboard doesn't have complicated measurements on it, I've opted for the centimetres. But go and check her out if you want to make this in inches. So I've gone ahead, I've used a piece of card which is 300 GSM, just plain white card, and I've stamped it with a little flower stamp from this set by Inky Doodles. It's a lovely set called Spring Applique that I've had for a number of years. I do believe it's still available. It's got 3 little bunnies in a little frame, various sentiments such as Mother's Day, happy birthday, spring, hello, etc. A little vase of flowers, a floral border, and this rather cute bunny border. And what's lovely about her border stamps is that you can line them up to make them as long or as deep as you want. So I've gone ahead and inked up in Distress Oxide Mustard Seed. You could use whatever ink you've got in your stash. The oxides do stamp rather nicely. I have heat set this, but it is still smudging, so I would wait until this was perfectly dry before working with it. If you didn't want to go ahead and stamp card, if you were in a hurry, you could use patterned card out of your stock or cut patterned paper to fit the size of your card. What I've then gone ahead and done is I've scored on the long side at 6 centimetres, 8.5 centimetres, 14.5 and 17.5 centimetres. I've then turned my card and scored on the short side at 2.5 centimetres. What you then want to do is take a pair of scissors, and this little rectangle in the bottom right hand corner, you want to cut up the score line till you meet your horizontal score line and cut that whole rectangle away. And then just take a wedge out of the long rectangle. You've got a short rectangle, take a wedge out of that, and that's going to be the inside of your bag. You'll see that you've got 2 rectangles on the bottom of your bag and 2 squares. You want to carefully cut up those score lines until you meet the horizontal score line. I'm hopeless at this. I always cut wonky. You could use a paper trimmer if you wanted to, if you were confident in just doing partial cuts, if you were, you know, that precious about getting them neat. I don't know what it is. I've never been good with scissors. I think it's because I'm left-handed and I use my right hand to cut, because I don't know why we didn't have left-handed scissors when I was a child, so maybe that's got something to do with it. And then on your squares, you're just taking a little wedge out of each of the squares just to remove a bit of bulk. And just move those bits out of the way. Still haven't got a bin. I'm going to put that to one side for a minute and work on my panel. If you've got coloured cardstock, you could just as easily use that for this. But I don't have a huge stash of plain coloured card. So I've gone ahead, I've got a little bit of Distress Oxide in the same colour, Mustard Seed, and just put a bit on my acrylic block. I'm going to come in and just paint the edges. I don't have a blending tool or a sponge rather for this colour, so I'm just painting. Obviously I don't need to do the middle because that's going to be covered up by my small panel. And I'm just going to dry that with my heat tool. So excuse the noise a minute. There we go. And we can put that to one side for a minute. Then I'm going to come in and work on my main panel. You could use whatever image you want for this, but I've gone ahead and chosen this little bunny. You get, as I say, 3 bunnies in a frame, and you get a blank frame that you could put anything inside, some patterned paper or a postage stamp or any of the sentiments that come with this set. but I'm just going to use this little bunny and use my VersaFine Black Onyx. Blue's woken up, she's looking at me saying, when is it tea time? And I'm just going to roughly centre it, but towards the top, because I want to put a little sentiment on the bottom. And there, we've got a nice little image. It's not quite central, but never mind. Now, that looks a little bit boring, so I'm going to add a sentiment, and rather than stamp straight onto this, because I probably will make a mess of it, I am going to stamp on a scrap of card. Now, as I've said before, I never throw little bits of card away, because the little slithers come in handy for just occasions like this where you want to stamp a sentiment. So coming back in with the VersaFine, I've chosen the word spring. I'm going to stamp it in the top left hand corner. There we go. Close that up. I've had this VersaFine Onyx for many years and it's still going strong. I love it. It's really nice. Let's pop that out of the way. Just give a moment for that to dry because I don't want to smudge it. In fact, I'm tapping it down on my scrap paper. There we go, that looks okay. And I'm going to just cut. It's not exact, you know, it doesn't matter. We're not making factory made cards, are we? We're making handmade cards, and the odd wonky edge here and there doesn't really matter. Now, because I want a little more pop of colour on my front panel, I'm just going to come back in with my acrylic block and my water brush and colour this in. Again, if you've got coloured cardstock, you don't have to do this step. It saves a bit of time, doesn't it? But as I say, I've got plenty of card, but it's all patterned. Most of it is patterned, and as I say, I don't have much in the way of coloured cardstock, so this is a way of doing it. And some people would just swipe their ink pad all over the card. Now, is that going to be enough on there before I heat it up? Let's just do a tiny bit more, bit wider, so I've got plenty to play with. This is real-time crafting, folks. Nothing speeded up here. Oh, no. Oh, I think we've got a power cut. Nothing is working. Oh. Yeah, we've had a power cut. Oh, that's exciting. Normally we get like a little alarm sound for the computer. So I'm just going to blow on this. Smoosh it down. There we go. And stick this on. Now I'm using Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue for this little bit here. It's got a fairly fine applicator. Lots of people use tweezers to pick up little fiddly bits, but I've never got on with them, so let me know in the comments, do you like tweezers or do you use your fingers? Sorry, I'm probably out of shot. And then I'm just going to come in with my scissors again and trim and trim. And then I'm going to stick this onto our bunny panel. Put it there like that. And then we're going to mount this on our large panel. And I think I'm going to use my collal for that because I've got slightly bigger area. Come on, out you come. I've done that much crafting recently that I've nearly got through a whole bottle of glue. Right, let's put this badger on this badger and see what we have got. I haven't got a brilliant border all the way around. Oh, and I've smudged, look. It's a good job this is a practice one. I might give this to my daughter. Yeah, I'll give this to Ella with some eggs in, and then she won't mind. What you could do actually, and see if it works, sometimes if you use a rubber, it will get rid of those ink smudges. But I know there are special rubbers you can get. See, that actually has got rid of that. There we go. That's not bad. Now, there are two ways you could go about this. You could assemble your little bag first, or you could stick your panel on first. I'm going to stick my panel on first because I just think it's going to be a bit easier. So I'm going to come back in with my collal. Make sure with my panel that I've got the short side at the bottom, the short bit that we've cut up. Make sure our panel is the right way up and center it as best you can. It's covering up some of those other marks that I smudged, so that's quite good. And I'm just going to give a minute for that to set. What I should have done before I stuck this on actually was fold and burnish all my score lines, because if I manipulate this card now, this is going to move. So I'm just going to wait a minute for that to set. There's quite a lot of white space on here. What I could have done was come in with a different stamp off the set and a different colour and fill in some of those gaps. See, this little floral one would look quite nice. Shall we do that? Perhaps come in with a bit of twisted citron. What do you think? Or shall I just leave it? Sometimes less is more, isn't it? I think we'll leave it because less is more. I am a less is more kind of girl. Put that on there because I'm going to lose it. Okie dokie. So let's burnish our score lines. You can see why it takes me so long to make my cards, can't you? I'm such a faffer. Yes, definitely fold and burnish your score lines before you put your panel on. You see, I'm making all these mistakes so that you don't have to. If you have a go at making this, let me know. I'll leave the dimensions of everything in the description box for you. And as I say, check out Sam Hammond at Pootles Papercraft. I think many of you probably know her anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do now, come back in with our Cosmic Shimmer glue and just put a bead of glue along that little narrow edge. And I'm going to fold that over like that and bring this side in to meet so that I get a nice finish and a good lining up. God, my hands are absolutely filthy. and just smoosh that down, and then you can open that. And then this is going to be the bottom of our box. We're going to fold the little tabs in. I'm just going to see which of these gives me the best finish on the top of my, or the bottom of my box. That's got a little score mark on it, so I think I'm going to put that on the underneath bit. I'll just put a little dab of glue on there, dab of glue on there, fold that over, then a bit of glue on here, and fold that over. And then what I'm going to do is turn the little bag upside down like this. It's very, very sturdy because I've used that very thick card. I'm just using the bottom of my bone folder, pouncing to stick those edges down and make sure the bottom of the bag is nice and adhered. There we go. Now we need to put some holes in for our handle. I have got this little, I think it's a 1/8 of an inch hole punch. It's got a little guide, and I'm just using it to eyeball. I'm going to come down to about there. So I've come about 1 centimetre down and roughly in the middle, and I'm going to just eyeball again the other side. If you wanted to be precise about this, you could measure it and put a little pencil dot to line up your punch. There, we've got 2 holes for our little handle. You could use ribbon, but I happen to have this twine, this baker's twine, which is yellow and white. So I've got a bit of a scraggy end. Just to make it easier to thread through, I'm going to snip, although those scissors aren't very sharp, Ashley. And I'm going to come in from the outside to the inside, thread my string through, or my twine through, pull through as much as you're comfortable with, and you're going to tie a knot. I'm tying 2 just so that there's so that it won't go through that hole. In fact, actually I'm just going to do 1 more. And what you could do if you were worried about this coming undone is just put a dab of clear glue or clear nail varnish on it. Okay, and then I'm going to come back over the other side. How tall do I want my handle? About there, I think. So cut a little bit extra to help us tie our knot. And again, we're going to come from the outside in. You could use a needle to thread this. Oh, come on, Ashley. We'll get there eventually. You might want to use a needle. There we go. The problem with me is, as I've said before, I've had chemotherapy, and one of the side effects is you get something called peripheral neuropathy, or you can get peripheral neuropathy, and it makes the ends of your fingers, you lose feeling a little bit. So although it's not as bad as it was by any stretch of the imagination, I am still a little bit fingers and thumbs. So there we go. And there's our little bag. Now the front is still just a tiny bit bland for my liking, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back in with my water brush and my little acrylic block with the mustard seed oxide on, and I'm just going to paint in this frame. You could use a felt tip pen, an acrylic, not an acrylic, an alcohol marker, whatever you've got. I'm just using this because it's to hand, and it ties in nicely with all the other colours that I've got going on. Well, other colours, you know what I mean. I've used the same colour throughout. just so that it coordinates. There we go. So all that needs to be done is to fill with little eggs. This one has got a little tag that I die cut. I cut 2 and tied them, glued them together, and just put the word hello on both sides and just tied that. This one you can see I've used the Twisted Citron little flower, though it's a little bit smudged. And these are what's inside, those little chocolate eggs that I bought, or the chicks, little chocolate chicks that I bought in Sainsbury's. And 6 fit in there really nicely. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have a go at making it, let me know. If you have a channel, why don't you make it and put it on your channel and show me that you're much better at crafting than I am. So I've made 3 of these. They really don't take that long. I just faff. Thank you for watching. Bye.